Hey guys, today we are going to make a slab box. I know we've already started on it, but and I'm a little behind on my videos, but I wanted to show this for anyone else who wants to see it. We're going to be making a slab box, and its requirements are in at least one direction, this direction on this one, it's 5 or more inches. On the other directions, the width, the height, it is much shorter than 5 on this particular box. But I want you to practice making a bigger box, not like the little one at the beginning of the year with the template. It also has to have a lid, and it has to have what we call a locking system. So in case of an earthquake or a bump of some reason, the lid doesn't go sliding off. So this one is kept on by that locking system inside the lid. And then it needs either a theme where you're making it into a monster or a present box or something like that, or 2 out of 3. Well, I gave you a whole bunch of ideas, but it could have feet, it could have a fancy handle, it could have cutouts like a lantern, sections like a jewelry box. So those are all ideas that you need to at least have 2 of in the box besides the length, or you can make it tall if you want. So today I'm going to show you not how to roll out slabs. Go watch the other video on how to do that. But I've already rolled them out, and this needs to be a leather hard construction. Leather hard means it bends slightly. This is not leather hard. I just did this. It bends slightly and but would crack if you pushed it this far. So let me see if this is, no, that one's not either. So these are the pieces that are leather hard. You can see that when I pick them up, they don't flop around, but they could move just a little bit. But if I move them too far, they're going to get a crack in them. So that's what leather hard means. And that's when we join a lot of different pieces to each other. Especially as you get a big box, the box likes to get really floppy the bigger piece you have. So I have a big piece here, and let me also show you how I just rolled this one. So it's pretty floppy. But when I pick up a slab that's not leather hard, I try and pick it up somewhat quickly because I don't want it to get a warp in it. And warps come from you picking up one side and kind of bending it, and then you just sort of pat it back down. Later on while it's drying, it will want to lift on you. And that is because clay has memory. I know it's a weird thing to say, but sort of like a poster that's been rolled up that you buy, that you try to unroll it and put it on your wall and it rolls back up. So clay has that. It just takes time for it to show up, and then you come out and your stuff is all warped. So when I pick something up, I try to pick it up somewhat quickly. So let's see if I can transfer this to over here just so you can see a little bit, and then picking it up quickly and setting it down quickly so that there's not a big warp in it later on. Other people might say other things, but anyways, what I have right now is a 5-sided box, and then this piece that I rolled is going to be the lid later on. And I need to get this box together. So it's time for some slipping and scoring, and then figuring out what type. I'm going to show you how to really make a good box that's not going to fall apart. And I'm going to put some of this together and then show you that method. So hang on. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to connect corners. One is what we call a butt joint. You've got a nice straight edge and you connect it with another straight edge. That creates a pretty good joint. There is another way to do one, and it's called a beveled joining. The thing I like about a beveled joining, and I did it here, is that when you cut it at a little bit of an angle where it's going to join, so I cut this one too at a bevel, I'll show you how in just a second. These two joining, they join like a picture frame, and it increases the surface area that's touching. So I like to make it likes to crack in the corners, so I like to create the strongest joints that I can, and that is often a beveled joint. So I already cut the angle on this one. It's a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to cut it on this one, and just to show you, I want to make sure I do it the right way. Is that this way? Nope, it's this way. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Let's see if I can move this a little bit. Okay, I can't move it. It's not on the board right now. Okay, so I take my needle tool and I go at the corner, and I have my needle tool at a bit of an angle, a 45-degree angle, hopefully. And you go all the way through that piece, and then I'm turning it, and I'm going to do this one at a 45-degree angle. Hopefully I will have a good joining area for my boxes. All right, so a little time for slipping and scoring. I got some really nice slip right in this here. I actually mixed it in a blender. And we're gonna slip. This is a fork down under all this slip. And I'm going to score this bottom one. Now, on the bottom, you should always join the wall to the top part of the bottom piece. When you join it off to the side like this, you quite often get a crack. So make sure that you are joining the top part here to the bottom part of the wall. So here I am, slipping and scoring, scoring and slipping. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and score this bevel joint right here, because that's coming next. And over here too. Now you can see as I hold this thing, it's bending just a little bit. I'm going to try and keep it straighter, but it holds its shape. That's what leather hard does. It doesn't flop all over the place. Okay. So we are going to push this down. We want gravity to hold this piece here. So we always want to go down into that bottom piece. Okay. So this is what we call leather hard construction. Our former box, we did like a soft slab, and we just bent it. But it was so small it could handle that kind. You can't do it with ones that are this big. So I'm going to work on getting some of these other beveled corners up and here to the edge. And then I'm going to think about a locking system. I've got up 2 walls right now, and I'm going to put up the third, but I wanted to show you how I really pushed this down into the bottom area, and I cleaned it up here. Haven't connected super well because I wanted to show you, just pushing that bevel, those 2 beveled edges together. If you have a gap, you could put a little coil in there and fill up the gap. But I just want to make sure that these are really pushed together well. Okay, so while I can still reach really nicely, we're going to do this other strengthening of the corners technique. And that is, I take a little tiny coil that I've rolled. It's kind of it's not leather hard, it's a little bit soft, but I'll sometimes put a little bit of slip in the corners. and it's one of the requirements. I really don't want your boxes to fall apart. If they do, I end up using them and you have to make it all over again. But I'm putting that coil into the corner. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm not just putting it in the corner. I am also really smashing it in. Okay, maybe you have a little wood piece that you want to try getting in there, but these corners should have a little bit of a rounded effect to them because you just stuck a coil in there and you added some extra strength to it. And I'm going to do that in all the corners along the bottom, those 4, and also the 4 coming up the edges, up the sides. So I'm going to do that and then I'll show you when I'm done. I have 3 sides up right now, and I wanted to reinforce this idea of taking a little coil. I just rolled it, so it's pretty soft, and putting it down into the corners. This is a requirement for you guys. When it's one of those things that's orange and on the whiteboard, and that means it's important. So in order for your piece not to fall apart, you want to add these little coils and round the corner. It adds a little bit of strength while you're pushing, a little bit of thickness, and it tends to be your piece does not fall apart. So you're going to do it, I've done it in the 3 corners in the bottom, but you're also going to do it coming up each of the corners. So I've done it in this corner, but now I'm going to do it in this corner right here. I think I need a little bit of slip. There we go. And just place that coil in the corner. Use your finger, use a tool. I try to do what I can while that 4th wall isn't up because I can see better. And just trying to make sure my joining is really strong. Coils are in those corners. We're nice and smoothed out. It should be touching both of them. So roll your coils. When I cut my slabs, I had a little bit of extra of the edges of the slab as I was trying to cut them nice and evenly. So I decided to keep them and make them be part of the locking system. Remember that on my other box, the locking system was on the lid. You can also make the locking system be inside the box. So I've already put one of these, well, not good to warp it like that, but I want you to see I've already put one of these little pieces right here, okay, that's leather hard, and I'm going to be putting the other one over in this corner. That could be enough, but I think I'm probably going to go all the way across and make a locking system. The lid will end up fitting flush all the way down inside and sitting on top of these little extra pieces. And then I'll be close to done of what you guys need to see, and you can decorate your boxes however you want. Locking system is done. I have put inside here a little slab, real skinny slab, all the way around, and you can see that I slipped and scored it. And then I just measured out with the paper that I had the whole box on how big I should cut my lid. It needs to fit down inside. So I just sort of folded this paper and I'm going to put it over here, cut out a slab, and use this extra part to decorate my box. So I'm almost done. Now it's time for you guys to go figure out your locking system. These are not the only type of locking systems, and if you figure out a new one, I'd be happy to give you extra credit and put it in the PowerPoints for next year. Hey guys, it's me again. I just want to show you the box. I've sort of finished it up. I put some handles on the side of it, and then I finished up the lid, put a little handle on top of it, actually quite a big handle, and it fits down inside. I did give it some room so that when I glaze it, I can put glaze down inside onto here. Sometimes if your lid fits really tight, just barely fitting in, it means the glaze, its little bit of thickness means your piece won't fit anymore. So give a little bit of room. I've got some room both directions, and this is ready to go out and get fired. So hopefully you guys get creative, have fun, and we'll see your boxes soon.